and welcome to what could be the single most rewarding watch review I've ever made, because this is about the IWC Portugieser Automatic 40. It is the newest version of an iconic model, and it has a 40.4mm 30m water resistant steel case and an in-house movement. Now there's also a very popular 44mm 7-day power reserve version, which is very popular and very good looking and very impressive, but I chose this one because I actually think it is a hidden gem. And that's not only because my wrist is smaller than a stem of reed, because it more closely resembles the original Ref 325 from 1939, which measured 41.5mm, and that's a good thing. But there's one thing that's a little bit unclear to me, which is the heritage. I wish there was someone who could actually tell me a little bit more about the history of this watch. Maybe someone like the CEO of IWC? Hey, wait a second.
No, absolutely. You know, our founder, F.A. Jones, is actually an American, the only American engineer and watchmaker to found a luxury watch brand in Switzerland back in 1868. And his goal was really to combine Swiss perfect craftsmanship with American manufacturing technology. So he started the first centralized watch manufacturing in Switzerland, here in Schaffhausen, powered by the hydropower of the River Rhine. And that meant that he had processes in place that allowed him to really achieve a great amount of precision in his pocket watch movements. And he made a name for himself very quickly by not only being able to scale up his production, but also through the platform system he employed, which we now know very well from the car industry, to get to very, very good levels of precision in his movements very early on. Right. And it was that reputation that brought two Portuguese importers from Lisbon to Schaffhausen in the mid-1930s, asking for the precision of a marine chronometer, which of course would have been either a big encased watch or a pocket watch in those days, in the form of a wristwatch. And of course, the simple answer back then was to say, let's put a pocket watch movement into a wristwatch. And that gave the original Portugieser, on which the new model is directly based, its face as a freehand watch with a small second at 6 o'clock, and an oversized 40mm case, which by the standards of 1939 was positively humongous. Yep. Of course, today this is a very nice variable dimension. But I think what came into this watch was really that history of the nautical instrument and the clarity and the legibility of the design, combined with the precision of the pocket watch movement, which really characterized what was to become the DNA of the Portugieser all the way through.
So the reference 325 has become a holy figure among IWC lovers.
Well, for me, the 325 is really the most archetypical expression of IWC's DNA, you know, which is a clarity, a purity of design with a functionality of an instrument that at the same time is timelessly beautiful. What I love about the 325, just like any design icon, it's beautiful at any moment of existence, from when it was first launched all the way through today.
And while we're at it, which IWC Portugieser are you wearing right now?
Portugieser Automatic 40 in stainless steel with a silver dial. What I was wearing previously is actually the Portugieser Perpetual Calendar 42, this one here, which is a watch, a lot of a go-to watch at the moment, because it's exactly that. It's just a very, very wearable dimension, 42mm case, reduced height, but still comes with all the functionality of a major astronomical instrument, being the Perpetual Calendar.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Wow, it's always great to have a CEO on call, and definitely if it is a guy as cool as that one. Did you see the Mercedes in his background? This guy really loves his luxury toys. Anyway, back to the watch. What's even better about this watch is it has an in-house movement, and you can actually see this through the caseback. The calibre 82200 was actually developed and made by IWC in Schaffhausen. It has a 60-hour power reserve and it consists of 224 components. Now the finishing is well done. It has some Côte de Genève and some perlage, and altogether it looks pretty nice. It even is a little bit skeletonized, which makes the view on the movement even better. And the rotor is beautifully detailed. IWC has long relied on external suppliers for their movements. But in the last decades they started producing their own movements, and that is actually a return to form for IWC, because what not a lot of people know is that in the beginning of the 20th century IWC actually was one of the first to do all the craftsmanship in one place. But back then it wasn't normal in Switzerland to do this. This was the American way of making things, the assembly line way of making things. So what we are calling manufacture today is actually an American invention. So yeah, you could say this A2200 movement, which was introduced in 2018, is a return to form for IWC. And it's actually a very decent piece of engineering. So apparently it is based on the IW358308 movement, but that's very far away. It absolutely feels and looks and ticks and has the quality of an in-house movement made by very good engineers at IWC. And to get even more technical, it has some high-tech parts, like the ceramic composite for reliability and longevity, including the pulse, the automatic wheel and cam. But that's not all. They actually have something called the Peloton winding system, which is...
Well, the story of our modern in-house calibers really sort of started around the year 2000 with the introduction of the calibre 5000, which was that large oversized twin barrel 7 days power reserve movement, which also reintroduced that principle of the Peloton winding, which is a bi-directional winding system with a very high degree of efficiency. So it uses a sort of click-clack mechanism in the winding to make sure that the rotor actually winds the movement very efficiently in both directions. So some watch movements, there's only clockwise or anti-clockwise rotation, which winds the mainspring. In Peloton winding, it uses a clutch system to basically reverse that action on both motions of the rotor, obviously making the winding a lot more efficient and a lot quicker.
Wow, thank you very much again, Mr. CEO. I actually got the feeling someone is watching me. So let's try to find something that's not good about this watch. Now obviously 7,000 euros is pretty steep for a three-hander. And to be really honest, I think the finishing of the movement could have been one notch better. But then again, if you look at the entire package, it's actually worth it. And when it comes to luxury promises, IWC really has done its homework. For example, their guarantee is extended to 6 years only if you subscribe to their program. Now I can't say much about this strap because it's actually a dummy, so I have to rely on memories I had from previous Portugiesers. Normally all the straps at IWC are pretty good, especially their Santoni straps. Now this one unfortunately is not delivered standard with the Santoni strap, and personally I would actually do a calf leather strap to make it even more modern, but well, if you like alligator leather, this is definitely a good choice. And one thing I've always passionately loved about the Portugieser is that domed glass. But what really does it for me, this watch has no date. And I love that. Just look at it, pristine, uninterrupted dial. What a beauty! Now with all that said and done, it is a time for a question more important than who actually rules the world. Is this watch cock or is it cool? I don't really know what that says, but I do know this. I think they actually managed to make the perfect watch, and I never really expected to say this. And it also has this very firm presence because of its thickness. And all things considered, I actually am very convinced they did everything, and I mean everything, to give this watch as much character as they have. And with that guarantee and the in-house movement sorted out, it really offers a great product that will last a lifetime. And in the end, what does the trick for me is that feeling to have a real luxury, durable and very well made watch on the wrist. As a thing to make you feel special, this is just perfect. Period. So what do you think, Portugieser or nothing at all? And of course, please like and definitely subscribe. And while you're still watching, please know next week we're gonna have a world first.